don't you turn off the TV and come to bed?
Okay, honey.
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
Party time!
All night long, make me love it, kiss and
Yes, Ailey.
touch me. All night.
You have offended my family, and you have offended the Shaolin Temple.
Freddy Krueger.
Cutting into my sleeping time. Okay, kiss my ass and good night.
Go to sleep, nigga.
Yeah.
I hope it's the long one.
Yeah.
Why you so concerned me go to sleep?
Good night.
I'm gonna go to sleep.
Good night, Ray.
Why don't you go to sleep? Why can't just sit here and look at your ass and wonder what you got up your sleeve?
I need you, Jesse. We got special work to do here, you and me. Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
I customized the sedative to leave inner ear function unimpaired. That way, however deep the sleeper still feels falling.
I can't swim! I'm drowning! I'm drowning!
Don't fall asleep.
It's the claw! Oh, the claw's coming at you. Oh, you're scared of the claw. You're scared of the claw. Ooh.
And then this other kid it fully intentionally has like the funny games haircut and the white polo shirt is like, I didn't ask to be put in this position. I'm innocent. I have to protect myself. And starts like getting really into the idea of killing people. But the entire time it's like this weird dynamic with him and his sister. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening with him and his sister? And they end up together, like in the final act, like together. And I was watching the movie while working and doing something else. And so they have this like very passionate, like, we have to do this to save our lives. Like, and then they start making out and then they go to kill more people. And I'm like,
It just got so hot for you stopped working.
I just paused for a second. And I was like, I know I was not fully paying attention to this movie.
I was watching every minute of this movie.
They were, exactly. But they were siblings in the first act, right?
Now you've got my attention.
Right, like,
now I'm watching.
I was like, I gotta double check it. So I pull it up on Google, and everyone's like, why did the brother and sister end up together in Game of Death? Like, there's all these articles that were like, yeah, it takes a weird turn into incest for some reason. And all the Letterboxd reviews are like, yeah, it's got incest and like terrible cringe dialogue, and all the millennials are fucking like useless. But the blood effects are cool. And I was like, okay, so everyone's like, why would they do this as a plot point? Like, what a weird tonal shift. So, like, yeah, this guy's obviously crazy. He wants to fuck his sister, and now he's totally cool with murdering people. And
so what other movies are we going to watch it with, Derek?
There's actually... Yeah, we'll do an incest episode. That.
Wow, we could have gone the other way. We could have gone the Game of Death part.
What's crazy is you can't even say that it's just one guy, because that movie actually has two directors. So that makes it worse. There's two people.
One of them was the Game of Death and
idea.
the other one was the incest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You're just going to be the incest team. All right, cool.
That's on the writer. It's not on the director. How many writers?
You said writer, and I thought you said rider, as in like
on the writer. Like I need
When we make this movie, you got to have at least 3 scenes of incest.
Brown M&Ms
and fresh water,
M&Ms, exactly.
and 2 bottles of whiskey.
Yeah.
The movie had this isn't helping any. The movie had 4 writers.
Oh,
The two directors were part of the writing team, and also the third writer, it says adapted by. So I don't know. Maybe he created the. Oh God, he's got my birthday.
You sister fucking.
The other thing is,
what zodiac sign are you?
I was about to say, you're such a Virgo, dude.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Pisces.
And by
which
that I mean you
probably
fuck your
makes
sister.
Pisces. Yeah.
It makes
Emotional
sense.
bitch. Yeah,
Makes
it does.
sense.
It
Totally.
does. A lot of serial killers are Pisces too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Surprisingly, not that
A lot
many
of
Leo
Geminis
serial
too.
killers.
Fun.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Feels like there'd be a lot more ego-driven murderers
Right?
in the Leo
Right.
category.
It might also be that the Pisces category, they're so emotional that they just can't control it, and then it just fucking spirals out.
Plus, it's the two fish thing. It's the two sides of it. You know, medical science shows that if you are a zodiac that has two things, you're more likely to have split personalities.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's
And if
science.
those two fish are siblings, they're probably gonna end up together.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna fuck.
So then you're fucking yourself, and it's incest.
Yeah, that's just fish on fish crime.
I'm glad that we can work this through. So today we're going to be talking about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh
But
my God,
first-
we're recording?
How do we lead in with that intro?
I was waiting for you to hit record at some point.
I quietly hit record.
Yeah. When you're like, no, this absolutely needs to go on the record. What we're talking about right
It's
now.
important, man. We got to get this stuff really like.
And the whole time that you guys were talking about that, all I heard in my head was when I was editing the Dogtooth episode of us continuously saying all roads still lead back to incest, and I was like, look where we're at right fucking now.
Yeah.
Didn't even try.
I mean, were we wrong?
I guess not.
Even the Nightmare on Elm Street leads back to incest somehow.
It does.
I feel like in 5 years, the 4 of us are going to be working on a script, and inevitably, it's like, we can't take this out of the story. It just fucking makes sense. It needs incest.
What's going on?
Hold on 1 second.
Is there incest afoot?
No, I just heard Keith yelling, which is not normal.
Okay.
Which might be an incest.
Yeah, maybe.
Is there incest afoot?
Oh my God.
If I had a quarter every time I heard that, dude,
Oh man.
I'd have.
I did, Josh. I did look up Game of Death, and trying to find that movie, and I saw that there was another movie called Game of Death, which has Wesley Snipes.
Nice.
So
I walked
yeah.
up and I didn't hear anything, and then I just heard, "Somebody get this fucking thing off me!" He's gaming.
Oh, is he playing Helldivers?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, sounds like a
Might be
Helldivers
Counter-Strike.
moment.
Yeah, this sounds like a Helldivers moment.
Yeah, it sounds like a Helldivers moment.
Somebody get this fucking thing off me!
Oh,
But
boy.
nobody does. Nobody does.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't.
Anyways, so
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I love this movie so much. I just
So
wanted. What's funny is I don't rewatch it enough because every time I rewatch it, like halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
it has a weird effect, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't find myself wanting to go back and rewatch it for some reason, but every
Yeah.
time I do, I have that same reaction where I'm like, this is fucking, it's amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
one of the notes that I had, because I've watched this movie so many times and everybody's talked about it to death, but and of course everybody knows that Robert Englund is fucking amazing as Freddy and Wes Craven.
Wait, Robert Englund plays Freddy?
Yeah.
That's
And-
crazy.
Fred Krueger in the credits of this first one.
Fred Word.
Yes, yes.
Short for Fred Word.
But the thing that I keep being like caught off guard every time I go back and watch it is watching it and knowing that it's an iconic horror movie, and then looking at it and really like kind of putting 2 and 2 together where it's not an iconic horror movie because it's been around for so long. It's an iconic horror movie because those shots are fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the shot of him coming through going over her bed, the shot of her being dragged, or Tina being dragged in the body bag, The shot of Tina levitating and going up the walls and the ceiling. That's terrifying.
The creativity of everything is
every
next level.
scene in it, every single scene in it has something fucking iconic in it.
Yeah. I think of all the major horror franchises, I think this movie for me is number one.
Yeah.
Like above any Halloween movie, above any
I'd say this one and Texas Chainsaw for different reasons kind of are fighting for the top spot.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like if you take Texas and then Halloween and Nightmare, they all fulfill very similar aims, but for all different reasons.
Yeah.
Like Nightmare, like especially watching it as an adult, remembering what it was like to watch that for the first time at 10 years old at a friend's house.
Terrifying.
That horrified me because like what you've always said, James, because like my favorite franchise has always been Halloween, but I know yours has been Freddy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
sure.
and I've heard you always make the argument of like, you're not safe in your dreams. And that's like the most horrifying thing that you can think of because what are you going to do?
You can't go anywhere.
No.
Yeah, I was just watching the Never Sleep Again thing. It's on YouTube. It's pretty good. And that's one of the things that they were like, the reason that this movie is so big isn't because of any of what's in the movie. It's the fact that everyone sleeps. You have to fucking sleep at some point.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're fucked. You can't, you have no control anymore. Like that's it's the perfect horror movie.
Yeah, it really is.
There's no baseline. It's everyone.
Switch is you look at all the slashers and you're like, guy in a mask with a weapon killing people, guy in a mask with a weapon killing people. And they're like, no, this one isn't like a normal guy. He's already dead. And he's going to kill you in your dreams. And that does up the scare factor. I also love, because I tried to watch it this time as if I had never seen a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I was like, I want to start from the beginning and I want to focus and act like I'm watching this for the first time. And I realized halfway through, we still have no idea who the fuck Fred Krueger is.
Yeah.
He just shows up. Like that opening sequence of him making the glove is so iconic and like legit. But he's just popping up in these kids' dreams. And you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like it'd be hard to get a movie made like that without the studio being like, who is this person? Why haven't you explained who he is in the first 40 pages? Why is he stalking these kids? And we're like, we're going to fucking get there, okay? The mystery is kind of what makes it even scarier. Is you're like, why is this guy showing up in my dreams?
We're going to go over it when we get to it. But like the remake, it's right there. That's one of the first things that they do, isn't it? Is they show he's just a dude. And then like,
it was about halfway. It was earlier in the film than it is in the original, though.
And they definitely show a lot. They go a lot more into it.
They do a whole They show flashbacks.
Chasing him down and all that.
I think that
well, and none of it's in the fucking dreams.
Yeah,
it's just
that's the other part.
It's all in the.
I think it takes away from in the remake. I think it takes away from him being like. You don't know what the fuck he like. Even by the end of the movie, you just know. He's a Fred Krueger. He's a child murderer, and they killed him.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's all you need. But
that is literally all you need. Yeah.
That's what I loved. Is it's because I kept trying to figure out. I was like, is this the first? Because like in the first Child's Play, you don't actually see Chucky doing Chucky shit until halfway through the movie because he's like mysterious, trying to hide that he's act like a real doll.
And then he's like, "Fuck it, I'm done hiding."
And that's why everyone loves Child's Play 2 more. Is you've got Chucky from the jump. You don't have to wait for him to pop up. And in this one, I'm like, that's right. No, Freddy is here immediately. Like we get that creepy dream with Tina and the arms and the shit, and then her kill is still fucking terrifying.
The
still
first
one of the scariest kills ever.
Dude, the first kill in this movie is like it's amazing that they were able to go up from there because it's so fucked. It's so intense and the first time you see it, because I didn't see this movie. I didn't see Nightmare 1 until after I had seen a few of the other ones. I think as a kid, and seeing this one was different. Because the other one's like he's a game show host. You know, Freddy's dead. He's like goofy and you're in a fucking video game and the power glove and all that shit. And like this one is like I have razors for hands. I'm going to cut you open and I'm going to take your fucking soul. And there's nothing anyone can do about it.
It's raw and dark.
Yeah, I'm not just like a crazy killer who's acting out of passion. Like I took the time to use this hobby that I've perfected over years to make a weapon specifically for murdering kids in a fun and like extra sinister way. And you're like, oh, that's really fucked up, man.
Super
Like,
fucked up.
like Michael Myers just grabs the nearest knife. You're like, no, I need to make a knife glove. I'm going to take the time to weld a weapon specifically for murdering kids.
Yeah.
While we're on the glove, I want to bring this up. So in the Never Sleep Again documentary, they were talking about like making the glove and stuff. And I love that first off, they made it out of all stuff you would find in a boiler room, which I'm not sure why you'd be making a glove in a boiler room, but moving past that, apparently, so one of the notes that I took as I was watching the movie
as
was
someone with ADHD, I could understand like just sitting in the boiler room bored and you see a glove on the desk and a couple of knives over here and you're like, wait a second. And you get this wild hyper focus where you're like, I have an idea for a project and I need to accomplish it now.
Right.
So maybe that's what happened.
See, but that's ADHD. The problem is that he then used it to kill people.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Haven't gone that far yet.
So anyway, so I took the note because okay, did any of us not at some point have a Freddy Krueger hand? I'm assuming Josh has it now.
I should have been wearing it. Sorry, I was gonna have like the full get up on for this. I just been like, oh shit, I forgot this was video. No, I do have a glove.
Takes off his Freddy
really
mask
nice
to reveal
one.
the real villain, Josh.
Yeah, no, I got the one. I ordered it from Hot Topic on clearance, like right after Halloween a couple years ago, and I thought I was getting the super cheap. That's like all plastic and brown fabric with the extra bendy fingers. It was only like $9.
The classic,
and I got the actual like deluxe $40 rubies one, and I was very pleased. But yeah, that's the only one I have. I know I have a couple of friends online who have like the different one from every movie, and they've got like the full metal replicas. They're like $500. Insane.
Yeah, I had one. I got it probably 89, 90 before I saw the actual film, because even at that point, like Freddy just became part of society. Like,
Freddy
he's
was
just
like,
part of it.
To my knowledge, being born in 85, like Freddy was just always there.
Yeah. It's kind of like Jaws, how everybody in like Star Wars, Darth Vader, everybody knows the story.
Frankenstein.
Dracula. All of those figures are just part of pop culture and have fused themselves with the whole of society. So even as a 5-year-old back then, I knew who the fuck he was without even seeing a movie.
I remember having a little like neighborhood girlfriend when I was like 5, and her dad dressed up as Freddy Krueger for Halloween as we went around trick-or-treating.
That's sick. Hell yeah. That had to be fucking terrifying.
Right?
I thought you were going to say he just did it like on a Tuesday in May. Scare you out of dating his daughter.
We're going trick-or-treating.
I don't know.
I haven't thought of that in a while, but I remember just that he had the mask and the glove. But I mean, that really became a huge part of pop culture. I mean, like you said, when you were born in 85 and like you are aware of Freddy as like a toddler.
So,
well, and I think that's because I was born in 86 and it was similar where I knew who Freddy was, but I always knew him as the wisecracking, like sleazy dude with the knife hands. And every time I rewatched the first one, I'm like, oh, that's right. He had no sense of humor in here. He was just a fucking like sociopath. Yeah. And I think it's the same way with Jason. Is when I was a kid, I just knew who Jason was the whole time. And then when I went back to watch the first few movies, I was like, oh, that's right. He's not even in the first one. He doesn't have the hockey mask in the second one. Like the Jason we know and love became that over the first, it took a few movies to get there. And that's the same with Freddy, is these first 2 movies, he's just evil.
Yeah. And I personally prefer him in that role of the first one. Yeah, go ahead.
I like a game show host.
I mean, he's good. I mean, like I like that, but
he does it so well and with full commitment to it. So back to the glove.
Yeah.
Derek, did you wear have you ever worn one of the gloves?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the first thing you did? Was it ha? Right? That's the first thing you do, right? You put the glove on and your first instinct is to go, yeah. Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It fucking should be, because that's how it was created. He put the glove on. First, the fucking metal blade knives, they were real. So he immediately cut his own wrist accidentally. And then he looked at Wes and went, Freddy Krueger was born.
Nice.
That's so funny.
It's just instinct, apparently.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's fair. I do that almost every time I put the glove on to record a TikTok.
Yeah.
I did it while watching the movie.
Yeah.
It's wild that character is based off of a lot of Wes Craven's actual like childhood memory shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and like he pulled from a lot of different
dad.
areas.
Yeah. Isn't he straight up named after
his bully?
Fred Krueger.
His bully,
That was like a dick to him. And
that
kid,
bullied him. But then also I think the look of him, he was saying he modeled after some like drunken homeless guy that was scaring him as a kid.
Yeah, he said that the hat specifically, and this is weird because I kind of like chopped it up a little bit, but it sounds like there was some drunk homeless guy who was wearing that hat, and like he just came up to Wes, and like Wes wasn't really even like paying attention to him, but the dude knew he was there, and he just went
just staring at him.
Stared at him, and it was like, that sounds fucking weird. That sounds real weird. Like,
I'll do it.
I wonder if he ever crossed paths with that bully again after that movie was made.
That
weirdly,
fucking name sounds like a bully.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no wonder you turn into a dick. I read somewhere that I thought the bully was like legitimately upset about what had happened or something, and like written a letter or tried to file like a cease and desist or something with the New Line. I thought I had read that somewhere. Maybe
I thought you were
it.
saying I thought you were going to say like he was upset that he found out all these years later that he
that's what I was going
like,
for.
That's where I thought that was going.
No.
Right. I
kind of lines up like
I was being a bully.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but instead he's still an asshole.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a funny thing because you think, I guess, it would be one or the other. Wear it as a badge of honor, but then when you explain it to people, you're like, yeah, Fred Krueger, he's named after me, actually. And they're like, really? Why is that? And like, oh, because I was a complete piece of shit to Wes Craven in middle school. Had no idea he would go on to be like this prolific director and make one of the most iconic killers of all time, and name him after me for being an asshole.
Kruger's not the bully's last name, apparently. He took it because it sounded German, and one of the characters in Hills Have Eyes is Krug.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think that's Last House on the Left.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the main guy.
Yes.
I didn't know this. I read about it. So Nancy, which I did pick up on, Nancy watching Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Right. But that was a nod to in Evil Dead. There's a poster of Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
Which is like both movies kind of nodding at each other.
I think it's when they go into the basement and it's like half ripped and half hanging on the wall. So good.
Yeah. That's so cool. I think a lot of people, I mean, I know Wes Craven is fucking iconic, but most people I think obviously know him from Nightmare and Scream and stuff. But whenever you stop to really consider that guy's like trajectory, to come out of the gate doing Last House on the Left, and then Hills Have Eyes.
The wild thing, he didn't want to make horror movies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, he apparently started writing poetry when he had like some weird he was paralyzed for a little bit when he was young, and he started writing poetry, and then he was working with Sean Cunningham for fucking Friday and stuff. And they were working for New Line, and I think he needed money. I literally just watched it and I already forgot like half the details. So sorry.
Watch every minute.
Every fucking minute of it. And
didn't take one note.
I think he needed money or something, and Cunningham was like, "What if you wrote a horror movie?" And he was like, "Yeah, I could do that."
It just becomes like one of the best.
Yeah, it just became Last House on the Left, I guess.
Because that's what happened with Deadly Friend, is he was trying to get away from horror. And when they made it was just called AI at first, and then it was just called Friend, and it was a sci-fi romance about this guy who brings his dead girlfriend back to life with the help of his like robot toy. And it's a focus on their relationship and him trying to make the most of it and make peace with it. And they did an advanced screening and said the new Wes Craven movie, and everyone came out of the theater like, what the fuck was that? I go to a Wes Craven movie to see people get slaughtered. I wanted to see blood. I wanted to see violence. Like, I thought this was a horror movie. And the studio was like, oh, sorry. And they went back to Wes and was like, we have to make it a horror movie. And so all of the violence was thrown in. The plot was completely shifted. They changed it all to Deadly Friend. And he was so bummed about it. He
And
essentially
it-
like disowned that movie because he's like, I don't want to keep making horror movies. I don't want to be in
Yeah.
that like stuck in that
interesting.
corner.
And
Yeah.
it sucks because like that's got to be so creative, like that just has to suck.
Yeah.
But also I understand, like, dude, the guy came out swinging hard.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I understand it from a studio standpoint too. Like, dude, like from a business standpoint, this
Yeah.
it makes like I get where they're coming from. It sucks from an art
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
Like, just
It's shitty
looking
that they
at-
would pitch it as check
Right.
out the next Wes Craven movie,
Right.
knowing full well that
Yeah.
you are
Right.
setting them up
Yeah.
for the wrong
Yeah,
expectations.
that
Like,
sucks.
Yeah. It's 'cause, like, when
Retrospectively, you can almost, I don't know, man. I think I'd say that of the big ones of all these franchises, I think he's the best.
Yeah.
I definitely think he is the most, like, again, Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes, and Nightmare. There's something about the intensity in those scenes that is very unnerving. Like,
Yeah.
what, like, again, going back to Tina's death scene and the first Nightmare, like,
Mhm.
that, well, not only the creativity involved in that, but the just fucking the brutality of it. Because
Mhm.
when you look at Texas, like, Texas Chainsaw is horrific, but like
They
we
don't show
talked
a
about,
fucking thing.
they don't show anything.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
gets even Franklin getting eviscerated by the fucking by the chainsaw. You don't see it, but
Yeah. There's
here you
no
have
massacre.
there- yeah,
That's
really
you know
not.
what?
Yeah,
That's honestly,
But-
you know what? I think that just cemented it. Yeah, Texas is my second because Friday actually, or not. Fuck, it's too many goddamn movies in my head.
God.
right, yeah.
Because Nightmare
Yeah.
actually has fucking gore.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like to go to that length and to show what he showed and the way that he showed it. And it's not like a fast cutaway. She's getting dragged up that
Yeah.
wall
Oh, yeah.
and dragged
Yeah.
across the ceiling. And there's just blood everywhere. And
Plus,
it's just,
The whole like tough guy boyfriend who probably could take Freddy in an actual fight. Like if it was just him and actual Fred Krueger, like you're dead, bro. He'd fuck that
Give him
dude up.
credit,
No
yeah.
knife hands, no powers. It's just a street
yeah,
fight.
yeah.
Somebody's getting a chair. But like for him to just like that dude would fight a dude, would save her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he fucking can't.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, when you look at this movie and to the first Halloween, like the first Halloween is to me, especially as a kid watching that, is fucking terrifying because it's just for most of the movie, it's just a fucking dude in a mask who just,
Yeah.
I'm walking down the road and, oh, look at you. I'm going to stalk and kill all of you now. Just
Right.
on a whim. Like that's a horrifying concept.
But
and I'm sure that fucking happens.
you could drive like a couple cities away and then you're fine.
You probably could.
You can't do that with Freddy. You can't do that with Freddy.
You can even do that with Jason.
Right.
In my head, I was just thinking about
Yeah,
like
just leave Crystal Lake. It'll
Yeah.
be fine with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
thinking
Change
about
zip codes.
the Halloween
Or
like,
stay at Crystal Lake and just don't fuck or
Yeah.
do drugs.
That's true. Yeah.
Don't do anything fun ever.
Yeah.
I
Don't
was just
drop
thinking
anchor.
about you watching Halloween and then like,
Yeah.
so this motherfucker's just afraid to fall
Yeah.
because most of it's just shots without him.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know he's there somewhere, but
Right. But the what Halloween excels at is using the vibe, especially the music, the score. Like Carpenter created a specific vibe with the music.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
the score in Nightmare is really, really good and
Yeah.
very creepy. But they're
apparently
just,
it was just a dude at his house.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
like
insane.
it was, I forgot what his name is, but it's whatever the composer's name on there is, obviously. But
I'll find
he was like him and Wes were fucking going back and
Christopher
forth. and they
Young.
were- yes,
Damn,
yes,
that was quick.
yeah.
Sorry.
Got them Google fingers, brother.
Fucking fast-witted kid.
Fast-witted kid. I think you
Shit
need
up all
fast-witted
day.
kid jerseys. I'm the fast-witted kid.
Fast with it.
But they were talking and he was like, I don't know how we're going to do this and come under budget. He was like, what if I just did it all at my house, I guess? I'll do all the voices and just no, like,
That's cool.
so he just John Carpentered it, apparently.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Because there's that story of Carpenter showing the producer the first cut of Halloween without any music, and the guy came back and was like, John, this is the most boring piece of shit I have ever watched, literally. And then Carpenter's like, okay, give me a week. And then a couple days later, he put together the score and gave it to him, and the guy was like, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen.
That motherfucker wasn't afraid to fall enough.
Dude, that guy, he composed, it's like fucking like 80 movies. Spider-Man 3, Sinister,
What?
Hellraiser, Drag Me to Hell, Pet Sematary.
Oh, Hellraiser.
Ghost Rider.
Okay, hold on. We gotta stay on that one.
I like how you led with Spider-Man 3.
I'm going in the order. I'm going in the order that I see them, and they're sorted by popularity.
Okay. Wait, did he retire after that? He was like, I can't be associated with Spider-Man.
No, he did the 2009. He did 2019 Pet Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I thought that one had a really good
the
contract.
remake?
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't.
I'm trying to remember, it's like 2019 was the remake, and then 2022 was the prequel. Or was that just last year?
No, that was last year.
Prequel?
I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, it's called Bloodlines. I think.
Bloodlines.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the other 6 movies called Bloodlines. But
we should just have
it's got David
TV
Duchovny
show?
in it.
Once we get through a bunch of these franchises that have bloodlines, we should just do an episode where it's just us talking about all the bloodlines movies. I really don't understand why Pinhead turns into a cat, but
oh, dude, guys, I'm so sorry. That's the guy that did he's the composer of the second one. So the first one is Charles Bernstein. Sorry about that.
That's it. Yeah.
Rewind it all.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
what
I
else
don't
did
know.
Charles do?
If you're saying it,
He
then
did
sure,
Cujo.
There we go.
Cujo's got a fuck of a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Dude, he did Sharktopus versus Whalewolf.
No. There we go.
Werewolf?
Yeah.
I like
Whale.
that. I like
Whalewolf.
Wow.
Hold on.
Sharktopus versus
Shut the fuck up and hold on. Whalewolf?
Werewolf.
Yeah.
How?
Which just sounds like
2015.
me saying werewolf with a retainer in.
Stop looking at my headgear, Stan.
It's the werewolf.
Dude, we
God
gotta watch
damn it.
this.
Yeah.
Sharktopus versus Whalewolf,
All right. I just want to watch it just to know what the fuck a Whalewolf is.
and then we gotta do fucking Zombievers.
Yeah, we really
Zombievers
do.
is great.
Yeah, we got to see that again.
Yeah.
It's
We got to
great.
finally watch that.
Yeah.
It is bumping my desk. It is funny though, because we're not funny, but we're talking about Wes Craven and how like unique and insane the shots are. You don't really realize it until you compare his movies like this and New Nightmare to other movies within his franchise that people picked up, or like you watch stuff that didn't do well for him, but you're like, why is this still so good? Like, what is it about this that is like so uniquely done? And I thought about it with Scream. Like, I love Scream 5 and 6, but you watch the first 4 Screams and you see like the big sweeping shots of the college campuses, and you see like some of the chase sequences, you see some of the other stuff, and then you watch 5 and 6 and you're like, this isn't Wes Craven anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's still fun, it's still great, but this isn't Wes Craven anymore.
He was a master.
Lost a spark.
Yeah, he just knew how to fucking.
He just had an eye.
Yeah.
Well,
that
like
and the trickery of the shots and the crazy shit that he was doing in the first Nightmare is insane.
I think
the
we
creativity
need to
is
give the effects department a ton of of credit here, because apparently in the Never Sleep Again, they're all like, so Wes would just come up with some shit and we'd have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Like he'd just be like,
Yeah.
so I want so she's gonna get dragged across and up the wall and across the ceiling, and they're like,
figure it out.
I guess we could build a room. I guess it would rotate, right?
You could spin it.
So then what came first was them doing that, and then he was like, cool, can we also use this room to do a fountain of blood that just looks like it's pouring upside down out of the bed? And they were like,
from what I understand, yes, 100% that.
That's awesome.
We built a whole fucking bedroom, might as well do multiple kills in it now. Like,
I didn't know that when they did the Johnny bed scene, they had no idea what they were filming, because they just closed the whole room and just let 220 gallons of fucking blood water just flood. One of the effects guys was like, it was the most intense and entertaining 30 seconds of my life.
That's wild. That scene does not get old.
No, it's so good. You can only get one take, right? I can't imagine them
You have to, right?
clean up and then do a second take and clean
and
up.
Like first, that room was just like literally like plywood.
right.
So like all that water is just gonna fucking absorb into everything, right?
Yeah.
Because this isn't fucking Kubrick on The Shining, because I want to say that they did that scene with the elevator with the blood like multiple times.
I can definitely see that.
Really?
Multiple times.
Well, he did every scene multiple times, right? That was his shtick.
Yeah. But yeah, it's what's also the other thing that I love about Craven is like the fact that like the dude didn't lose his edge as he got older. No. Because when you look at the remake of Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left, like I know they're remakes, but they're fucking intense.
Yeah.
Like they're brutal. Yeah. Like you could tell like that was because the same guys who made those original. I mean, I know they had different directors, but they were all part of making it and producing it and doing it. You could tell that was their kind of way of going like, okay, we can now make the movie that we wanted to make in the early 70s, but just didn't have access to the money or the technology to do it.
Yeah.
And then they ended up somehow going even more intense than they did when they were in their early 20s. Like you don't see that very often at all.
Right. Yeah. That Hills Have Eyes remake, I haven't seen it since it came out, and I'm still fucking like, I remember it pretty well.
It's a lot.
It's fucking gross.
It's also like, it's gross in the special effects and like the visuals and stuff, but it's also the tone and vibe of that movie just makes you feel like God, like wrong.
It makes you feel like that like gross, like you've been sweating for so long, but you're not actually doing any work. And it's just like you're just covered in sweat. And now you're in the desert, so now there's like a little bit of dust stuck to you too.
Dude,
and you're just like...
It's all that comes to mind at any point I'm driving through some little desert town. It's all I could think of.
We just 100%. Drove from Vegas back to LA, and we took the long route through Kingman, Arizona to visit family.
Good
and
shit.
that's just that's exactly what it was like.
That's most of California. If you road trip around California, it is most of California is that. It's little desert towns like that are creepy as fuck.
We saw the Hills Have Eyes remake in theaters, and I just remember like trying to plan a group outing, and then a buddy of mine called me the night before and was like, "Hey, I'm reading reviews, and I don't think this is a date night movie." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I don't think we should take our girlfriends to see The Hills Have Eyes this weekend." And I was like, "Oh, I don't give a shit if they like. I want to see this movie. I've been looking forward to this movie for a while. I'm going to see it." And he's like, "I think we might sit this one out." And I was like, "All right." And then I saw it and I was like, "Yeah, no, this isn't a sexy film. I'm sorry."
You were totally right.
I get it.
When I saw the Last House on the Left remake in theaters, that was just let's all just go watch this. It just came out on Friday. That one was I have never seen so many people get up and walk out of a movie before.
And honestly,
I totally get it. I get it. I completely fucking get it.
Totally
there were people who burst into tears. There were people who got up and stormed out. I felt sick. Like I literally, like I came home and I remember a friend of ours was like, "I'm going to go home and order pizza." And I was like, I can't even imagine eating food right now. I feel so fucking gross.
The fact that somebody mentioned pizza to you and you didn't immediately,
especially back then,
and you declined.
That's gotta mean something. No, dude. I went home and just sat on my couch and just stared at my TV for the rest of the night. I was like, Jesus, man, that one's like stuck with you.
I did them both somewhat recently because you guys did the Last House shirt drop. And I was like, oh, I got to watch the original. I've never seen it before. And I just remember my mom always telling the story of how she had to sneak out of her house when she was a teenager and go see Last House on the Left at like the local drive-in. And it was a big fucking deal. And So part of me was like, well, my mom showed me Night of the Living Dead when I was a kid. And I was like, this isn't fucking scary. It's all black and white. What are you doing? And then I grew up and watched it again. And I was like, God, I was a dick. This movie's a masterpiece. And so I was like, am I going to think my mom's overreacting? Last House on the Left isn't actually that bad by today's standards? Because there's always that dipshit online who's like, oh, it's no Serbian film. And I'm like, all right, you perv. But I watched the original Last House on the Left and I was like, oh yeah, no, this still holds up as like a fucking brutal exploitation flick.
Oh, yeah.
Like, holy shit. And then I get ready to watch the remake and I was like, I'm sure this remake, inevitably done by a music video director with like a nice sheen on it from the early 2000s, will probably be safer. They're going to pull back on some of the more brutal shit and it'll be fine. It's more for commercial use. And then, yeah, like halfway through the remake, I was like, fuck, they did not.
This is the exact opposite of what you just said.
At all. This is so cool. Definitely
This
not
is
like
not cool
a feel-good
anymore.
movie.
This is not cool anymore.
I watched both. I was
now
like,
it's
fuck
cool
yeah.
again.
Yeah. Oh, those movies.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of brings up one of my other notes was related to the iconic nature of that first movie. And it kind of made me stop and think, like, why do, and I'm sure I'm on both sides of the spectrum. I'm sure there's a lot of people who agree with what I'm about to say, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't agree with what I'm about to say. But and I'm not trying to be a jaded, judgmental asshole towards new or horror movie, but I just don't feel like anything that I see anymore comes off as anything iconic. And it makes me wonder, like, have we seen everything there is to see? Because I can't imagine we have.
No, definitely not.
But why do things not feel the same?
I think the mass majority of it is the timelines for everything. I don't think that they have time to sit and come up with the like, you have to have that shot in your head, because that's apparently that was the thing, is that again, the documentary is that Wes Craven and that dude sat and worked on fucking shots, and they mapped out the fucking filmer. They sat and they planned all the shots out, and they came up with crazy shots. And he's one of the best fucking filmers. So like
cinematographer.
He got.
I like
filmer.
Say
filmer because it's
pretty dope.
Filmer
for the layman's at home.
Just fucking getting them close shots with the fucking GoPro.
I'm filming.
But so like they had months to like work on it and shit while they were getting the movie made, and like movies get made in a couple months now. So it's like, I just don't think that.
I think it's that, and it's a lot of, obviously everyone just wants to keep digging or like going back to the same IP well. So a lot of studios aren't willing to take risks on original horror.
Yeah.
And then the ones that do, unfortunately, that the original horror just doesn't perform as well sometimes, or gets mishandled. Like Cobweb was pretty fun. I don't think Cobweb is like an iconic horror flick, but I watched it. I was like, fuck, this movie's actually like a really cool, like spooky Halloween type movie. Why did they drop it the same weekend as fucking Barbenheimer and then not talk about it at all? Like Lionsgate really shit the bed there. And then you got Blumhouse, who used to be like pretty reliable, and now they're just like churning out all kinds of shit. And every once in a while it's great, and then every once in a while it's Night Swim. But there's I think there are
A24 putting out unique shit.
You know, I was going to say that I watched Talk to Me finally a couple nights ago, and I was really that's one that I was really impressed by. I don't want to spoil anything because I know James hasn't seen it, but like I was really impressed with it. Just the overall like intensity and kind of like the vibe of it's just fucked. You know, you're fucked.
I think it's one of the better horrors of the 2020s.
Yeah,
for sure. We've had the last 4 years. It's been
but you just don't see that.
Awesome. I would say it's been a while since I've gotten the feeling that I got with Sinister. Like the first time I watched Sinister.
Yeah,
I was like, oh shit, this is one I'm going to go back to. This is one I'm going to remember, and this is not.
I think
reboot
Ari
or
Aster
like that.
I mean, with Midsommar, fucking like that's one that I think we'll look back on.
I agree.
I already do. Like I watch it pretty regularly, and that's not, you wouldn't think aesthetically that would be a movie that would like resonate with me, but it totally does.
I
want to go back to Talk to Me just for a second. I think that the difference is, look at where that movie comes from. It comes from a bunch of fucking Aussie kids that have been
Yeah.
making fucking content for probably over a decade now.
It's unique.
And like they've had first off, they have a unique fucking like perspective on it. It being from Aussie and being fucking young. And also they've had time to sit, and I bet that they were sitting and bullshitting about this movie for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
And they were like, we all know what movie we're making, right? Yeah. All right, let's make it.
Yeah. I read a couple nights ago that they had an offer from another American company to come to America and make the same movie with a lot more money, but they were like, no, we're making it here
fucking
with the money that we have, with the people that we're going to make it with. And I guess they didn't say if they were going to have to compromise their vision of it, but I could also assume
But that's
it might have. Yeah. Usually I would imagine getting paid a lot more money or given a lot more money by a big company that carries the potential of, well, we're giving you this money, so we want you to make these changes.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, even if they don't come right out the gate and say that it entails changes, it's going to have changes.
Yeah, I would imagine.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because once you're beholden to somebody for a few $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, then you also get the anxiety of like, if you made this horror movie for cheap the way you wanted to, then you at least know this is mine.
Yeah.
This is what I did. And all the results for it I'm accountable for. And you have a better chance of making that money back. But if you've got that studio involvement and now the budget's way higher and the movie underperforms, then you feel beholden to these other people who put faith in you and put all that money behind it.
And also now
it's like the same way they're like, oh, this movie made $15 million and it's considered a failure because we paid $40 million or whatever to get the rights to the only franchise. And then we dumped all this money into the advertising.
On top of all that, if
Neon
you made it
only
yourself,
paid $8 million to make this movie, so it's a huge success.
If you made it yourself, it only shows as a gold star, right? But if you made it for somebody else, now it's a fucking black mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
A24 strikes me as like they'll let the creators do their thing. Like, what do you need? Like, yeah sure. And it's not, it's definitely hit or miss. Like, it's not like they fucking knock it out of the park every time. But I do love that they're the, like, as far as I'm concerned, one of the only ones out there that are allowing that to happen and not meddling with
what Blumhouse was doing for the longest time, and that's how they made a name for themselves. Is it was we give you a moderate budget and final cut, and you make whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
and if it's great, then we easily make our money back because this is how horror does in theaters. So, like when The Purge was insanely successful.
Yeah.
That was like, one Purge movie means we can produce 5 more that may not do well, and we still made all of our money back or whatever for the year. So Blumhouse was giving everybody final cut, but now Blumhouse just wants to reboot everything or do other weird shit.
I think it was also like looking back at the 80s, like that. I'm always going to be fascinated by the 70s and 80s filmmaking because it really seems like it was such a wild west of ideas.
Yeah.
There was just, it was just, who gives a fuck? It's fucked up. Let's make it. Like, let's do it and do it to the best of our ability and go for it. And, I think that's one of the reasons. I'm not trying to compare Talk to Me to Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to fucking idiot. But when I was watching Talk to Me, I was like, okay, I'm kind of impressed because I haven't seen this story yet. It's kind of similar to other things, possessions and stuff like that and paranormal stuff. But the way it was told and I know I always go back to this. I know you guys do too, but the vibe of it was different. I read a comment on Letterboxd where somebody was like, finally, like somebody did it. Horror, please bring back the I'm fucked and there's no way out story of horror movies. Dude. And when I had it in my head watching Nightmare on Elm Street, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what this movie is.
Yeah.
Like Nancy wins at the end, but does she?
No, she fucking doesn't.
No.
She fucking drives away in the Freddy car and her mom gets turned into a doll and put through a door.
She's fucked.
That wasn't Wes Craven's ending.
Yeah, right? That's the weirdest part.
Really? What did he want?
Yeah, that was Bob Shea. He just wanted it to be like that, pretty much like what you see is what you get.
I think Wes Craven he didn't want to see Freddy at the end. He just wanted him to drive off.
That actually the car. So Bob Shea, I think it was Bob Shea, New Line. was like, we need to have, because he wanted to set it up for a sequel, obviously.
Yeah.
Because he's Bob Shea.
And Craven was very against that.
Yeah, Craven was
Craven did not.
super against it.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, beholden. So they did a scene, and there's like a little alternate take footage of it where like it's Nancy, and then she like leans back, and you see Freddy's dry. It looks terrible. It doesn't work at all. And then she starts yelling, and he's like, "This just doesn't fucking work." So the compromise is there's no Freddy specifically, but they get into the Freddy car. And then the mom gets pulled through the door. They had one day, one shot to film the mom through the door thing, and they just happened to get it. That's why it looks so janky, I'm assuming.
Yeah. It's a fucking blow-up doll.
Yeah, it's literally a blow-up doll.
Yeah. So
my favorite part is like she gets like pulled, like the head goes in, and then she just goes fucking horizontal.
Yeah.
So that might be a good transition to go into part 2, because one of my questions.
Oh, right. I forgot we were talking about part 2.
Yeah, we got to talk about both.
Was, you know, he didn't direct part 2. Why? Did him being against it being a sequel? Was that like from the get-go?
I don't know, because there really isn't any conversation about that. He just, I think maybe he just didn't want to do. Again, he didn't love horror. Clearly, like he was always kind of like back and forth with it. So maybe he was like, I just don't really want to. I think he felt like his story he'd been told.
Gotcha.
He was like, that was the story. The first movie is the movie.
Similar to like, I think Carpenter with the first Halloween.
Yeah,
exactly. He was like, I don't want to make a sequel. I think it's a standalone. And they're like, well, we're fucking making a sequel because it was a successful standalone. And that's how we make money.
Yeah, he didn't even
Carpenter
remember.
came in and was like, well, then you got to make it hella gory because that's what everyone wants now.
Right. Yeah, he didn't even. I've read that he literally barely remembers writing Halloween 2 because he just would wake up every day, go get a bunch of beer, get drunk, and write because that's how he was able to get himself through that because he didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
he just needed the money.
You got to write drunk and edit sober.
Yeah. Like he's on his way to the hospital.
That's his sister.
He kills everybody in the hospital.
Yeah, fuck him. They're like,
does he chase his fucking sister? She's a sister? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, he needs a reason to do it.
Yeah.
Why is he going after this chick in a second movie?
Sister.
Later.
I don't know. Yeah, sure. Make it happen. I do love the second one. I didn't realize until Brian Collins had actually mentioned this on Twitter the other day as I was watching it, I was like, is this like Leprechaun? Is it a different Freddy in every movie? Because his powers and like the rules are completely fucking different in the second one.
They really are. They really
well, it's not only complete. It's a complete different. There's none.
Yeah, you can't tell when you're in a dream or not in a dream.
There is no in the real world.
There is no
like
dream.
He just pops out of a dude and kills the teacher and then goes back in.
He's got psychic powers now.
Yeah,
I took it
also
as
the
like,
the worst makeup. I didn't realize how weird his makeup looks in 2. It's like not
one thing
like
I pick up on that.
I liked
like
it. I definitely noticed it was different. Yeah. I picked up on it, but one thing I did like was the fact that he doesn't have the glove. It's just coming out of his fingers.
Yeah,
I've got that as a note.
He does have the glove sometimes, doesn't he?
The hand is pretty sick.
Know.
I know at the end.
Well,
at the
Jesse
end
has
it's
the
supposed to be
glove.
what's it's supposed to be.
Jesse has the glove.
Yeah.
Jesse has the glove.
Wow. So Freddy doesn't wear the glove the whole movie?
He does for parts of it. Like when there's scenes where he's like waving and he's holding the glove or he's wearing it for moments. But when he pops out of Jesse, it's just his melted hand with the blades coming out of his fingers.
Which because it was coming out of Jesse's fingers, right?
Right.
And then,
Yeah. So Freddy uses Jesse almost kind of like how Freddy uses Jason in Freddy versus Jason to kind of do his bidding. So
wow, that's probably where they got the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. So every time that Freddy kills somebody in the real world, Jesse's actually killing him, but the victim sees Freddy.
Right. And this is where it completely falls apart.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say it falls apart. I loved
Freddy
it.
Sprout out of Jesse's
That was such a good scene.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
It's a great effect.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That scene is amazing.
is so good. Dude, his arm transforming at first is so fucking gross.
That was fucked
dude.
That's awesome.
Like
we
it's
were
like,
watching it a couple hours ago. I was like, we need to figure out how to do that as like a cosplay. Like if you could do the makeup effects on my arm with a sweater sticking out of shredded
here's the weird
flesh.
thing,
Like,
and I don't know
That's
why,
so good.
but for some reason, while it was freaking me out, it made me think of Spider-Man.
Kind of, sure. It made me think of that Spider-Man tattoo that went viral a few years ago, like the
that's
tear
what
out.
the fuck it was. Yes,
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was this tattoo that was fucking all over the internet, and so I worked at tattoo shops shortly after this, and everyone wanted a tear out tattoo, which is just make it look like the skin on my body is torn away, and I've got a Superman S or a bat signal or something underneath. And I'm like, okay, one dude paid way too much to have a really talented artist do a Spider-Man version of this, and now you all want the same one. Like, what are you doing?
I wonder how those healed.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like by now.
Probably not well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the arm, I could see that. It definitely looked like a tear out tattoo. I'm sure maybe that's what I'll get is a tear out tattoo of Freddy's sleeve coming through my right arm, so it looks like Jesse's arm.
Yeah, there you go.
You could get a hand tattoo to cover up your other tattoo with like nice like Freddy scarring, and then you could implant. You could do implant nails, blades in your fingers.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sure.
Yeah,
I'll just talk to. Do you guys have a piercer?
Like,
I have another idea while we're here.
You know how they declaw cats? It's the exact. It's just the reverse.
Yeah. But yeah, I've seen 2 a couple times, but this time was my favorite time and my most enjoyable watch of it. I fucking loved it.
Really,
it's awesome.
That's
I think
so
it's
fucking funny because I usually love this one, and this time watching it, I was like, man, when you strip away the like. The like this is like a homosexual icon movie, which is great, and I love that. But when you strip that away, this movie fucking sucks.
I don't think so,
dude. How does she fix him? How does she fix him? What does she do?
What do you mean?
How does she make him stop being Freddy? With love? So fuck yourself. That's a whole movie.
That's my favorite part of the movie is like, I love how she goes, I love you, Jesse. And Freddy is like, initiate self-destruct sequence. Fuck this. I'm out. I'm going to just fucking
when you
melt.
put it that way, it makes so much more sense.
Yeah. She's like, he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm going back to my fucking world.
I'm not going to get this one.
He hated it so much. He set himself on fire.
Dude, that's Freddy saying something's cringe.
Yeah, he was like,
that's what it is.
Dude, him melting
is sick. Yeah,
so good.
Yeah,
so good.
The effects in this are great. The writing is just all
is really good.
Over the place.
That's what carried over is they continued with the very creative kills.
Yeah,
the kills were all very creative.
Yeah,
and to me, I feel like it's a good movie, and I like it. I think it's not a good Freddy movie.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
Because it's not Freddy.
It's not a Freddy
we just
movie.
changed everything.
Yeah.
So in that
I will agree
aspect,
there.
but I still think I think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I love this one. I used to go to bat for this one hard, and like one of the first podcasts I ever did was defending your list or something like your top 5, and the thing we had to do was our top 5 sequels, and I had this one on there. And the guy I was debating with was like, I think I'd already said Bride of Frankenstein. I was like, and Freddy 2. And he's like, 2? You just like all the gay movies? And I'm like, yeah, maybe I do.
What's wrong with
that? And I still love this movie. But yeah, after watching it back to back with the original for the first time in a minute and like really focusing on it and trying to pick it apart and make notes for this podcast, I was like, oh yeah, I can see why this isn't as good as everyone
it's
remembers.
apparently Robert's
like
least favorite.
One
of the whole franchise.
Here's the thing, and I don't want to like go into I feel like the 4 of us are not qualified to really talk on the homosexual aspect of this movie, because we're all straight. It's a lot. It's really good. I like it.
Yeah.
However,
I think
watching Scream Queen, which is the documentary specifically about this, I forgot his name.
Mark Patton.
Mark Patton.
Mark Patton and his experience with it and all, like, that director sounds like he's a fucking, like, really hard to work with.
Yeah.
Not the director.
really?
I think the writer, right? Because Jack Shoulder was the director, and I guess what was weird for him is, or what's still weird about him is, he said he did not pick up on any of the homosexual undertones.
Yeah, that's what I read
I didn't
too.
see that. I didn't see that.
And there's no way, dude.
Yeah, that's
like you're hitting the coach with balls. Like every little
so many
fucking
balls,
thing,
dude.
man.
Yeah.
Just
So
every
many
little
balls.
detail is like
Well, I know
so
there was-
weirdly skewed.
I know. Is it Robert Russler? Because he's the
dark
the other guy who was like his bully, but then like the
bully
loved
slash
it.
boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
He's his bully
Grady.
friend.
Grady.
Bully friend.
yeah.
Grady.
Grady.
Yeah.
Because he was, who by the way was in Weird Science, and
He's the guy that I always thought was Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. So apparently, on the last day of shooting Weird Science, Robert Downey Jr. drove him to audition for Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
That's crazy.
But he was saying,
funny.
hey, like, I knew during the audition that this had a lot of homosexuality undertones. Like, I knew right at the audition. And the director's like, I didn't see it. But he's not the writer. The writer was the one who I think was fucked up. And that was what that whole documentary was about.
Yeah.
What was
Mark Patton.
what ultimately was
Well, for 30 years, he denied that he wrote that in there. He's like, no, like people, he kept blaming Mark Patton as the actor who was a closeted
saying that Mark Patton
homosexual
made
at the
the
time.
movie gay.
Well, he
And
was like,
Yeah,
it
he
was
said he was
you.
projecting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Fucked
not
up.
it, man.
That's
He's
not
gay,
cool,
but
man.
he's an
Yeah.
actor. He's fine. Like he's not doing
So
anything.
is Mark gay?
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, Mark
gay.
is
Oh,
gay.
okay, gotcha.
But he said
was
the movie.
he was in the closet back then.
Yeah.
So he didn't.
Right.
He was like,
Yeah.
he was trying to do a straight performance. He's like, this
Yeah.
is me being straight.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's brutal is he was closeted
Yeah.
and, struggling, obviously,
Yeah.
with that aspect, and making a movie about someone
Right.
who's closeted. Like, that in itself has to be a nightmare.
Oh, dude. Right.
I'm sure. That's awful.
Well, he fucking moved to Mexico and like left Hollywood and didn't make movies
that's the
anymore.
shittiest
Yeah, that's
thing,
what I was.
'cause
That's what I
he's
was going to ask. Is
so
if he
good
did
in this
anything.
movie.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
awesome. He fucking
And
killed
He's
it.
incredible.
easily been a successful actor,
dude,
even
his
just a genre
scream-
actor, but in anything else,
Dude,
he's so
yeah.
good.
His scream in this movie is fucking terrifying. Like,
And what's fucked up
legitimately
is
creepy.
that's one of the things that the director was like, look at the scream.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah,
Well, he
dude,
was
like,
saying- he
right?
said,
Like it's a good scream. I wish
Yeah.
I could scream like that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
no,
like,
he was
dude-
saying that like he said, I never told you to scream like a woman. Like,
Yeah.
he said something like that.
Wow.
Where like it
That's
wasn't
awful.
in the I guess aiding the argument of like you're the one that made it gay, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude, like
But-
it's
and then-
clearly written in
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah.
written that way, and the
And it's
writer
like-
did admit it in the documentary.
Oh, really?
In the doc, yeah, he did.
after the fact. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it took him 30
'Cause-
years, but
Right. Because, yeah, it's like, dude, there's so many scenes in that movie that carry those undertones that Jesse's not even in.
Yeah.
The whole,
Yeah,
the
dude, yeah,
whole, I thought that it was, I completely forgot about the scene where he goes out to that bar and
Yeah.
then the coach, which is the fucking SWAT leader team from our team
Yeah,
leader
yeah,
from
dude, yeah.
Airheads,
Yeah.
same character, the exact
Yeah,
same
It's the
character.
same character. This
Yeah,
is
he
before he,
didn't
joined
die.
SWAT.
Yeah, he didn't die. He
No.
just, he got out. He went to the hospital. He he
Oh,
recovered
maybe he-
from his wounds.
Maybe he started being a coach after he was SWAT team leader. I know that
no,
doesn't
because
line up all the
Airheads comes
time.
later. Yeah,
Look,
Yeah.
it's movies. We can pretend.
maybe. But yeah, it's the exact same thing. But yeah, I forgot that. Like, how awkward is it to where Jesse just goes out one night, ends up at this place, and then
Right.
I run into my coach, and then coach is going to make me go back to the gym.
Well, and-
like
and
you
it's
took, hold on,
supposed to
hold
be
on.
a
You
dream,
took-
right?
I don't know because like
it
he-
shows
he
him falling
takes-
asleep, and then he goes to the club.
That's where
is
I was
it?
confused because I double checked. I was
Right.
like, is this where the powers have changed, or is this entire thing a dream sequence?
Right. Because I was like, wait a minute, hold on. The coach just picked you up in the middle of the night and you're not in school and
Yeah,
you're now
and they just
running
go
laps.
back to
Like
school.
this
Yeah.
isn't like this is kidnapping at this point.
Like,
you have kidnapped a
yeah.
child
First off,
and
so
now you're making him run laps and then go take a shower.
right, that's sexual abuse.
Yeah, that's weird.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He
not
goes
okay.
he goes to sleep. Then he's suddenly at the bar which makes sense if that's the nightmare. And then they go to the school, they make him run, the coach gets killed, and then they find he's just, Mark Patton's just fucking like
outside,
naked outside. And it's
naked,
like, what, how does that?
Yeah.
So how I had read it was that he couldn't sleep, so he just starts walking the streets at night because he can't sleep.
Yeah, that's
and
what I thought.
he wanders into a gay bar, goes up to get a drink, and the coach catches him, and the coach is embarrassed and gets mad that he's been caught. So he punishes.
That's what I took it as
Jesse
too.
And being like, I'm going to take you, kind of like you're going to learn here. A part of you're not going to tell anybody that you saw me here.
Right.
And this is
so
his
I'll
like
take you
mad
to the place that I'm employed
overreaction.
at.
Yeah. So take you back. It's very weird. Yeah. Take you to school, still in my harness. And
still in the fucking leather daddy outfit. Like, what?
Make you run laps and then get in the shower. But yeah, that's where I was confused. I was like, so all of this is happening in the real world, but Freddy has this power because he can manifest through Jesse.
Yeah.
Right.
Which he couldn't do in the first one.
It needed like one transitional scene between the sleeping and the walking.
Yeah. So you guys watched that documentary, Scream Queen?
I
watched it a couple years ago when it first dropped.
I just finished it right before we started recording.
It's
I'd highly recommend it.
What's it on?
Listening hasn't seen it.
Shudder.
It's on Tubi right now.
Yeah, it's on Tubi.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. It is on Tubi now. Yeah, you can watch it for free.
Okay, cool.
It's really good. I seriously, anybody who's a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street needs to watch it, just because it's so
for
much
sure.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
I will say part 2 has one of my favorite Freddy scenes towards the end, where it's the pool scene where Freddy is standing in front of the fucking fire and his arms are out and he's all silhouetted and he's like, you are all my children now.
Yeah.
It is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's such a good moment. It's so creepy.
So
and then he just leaves and he leaves all of his children.
That
was the other thing is like, what? Wait, what?
That
so
is
like
weird.
you showed up, caused chaos, don't kill anybody and leave? What?
Did we just discover this movie sucks and doesn't make sense?
I think we did.
So I just love that he like made the hot dogs all pop. Like balloons, and then ruined all the beer brand beer that was in the wagon.
Beer brand, and that sucks because beer brand beer is expensive.
Yeah.
But I love that the pool is so insanely hot. It's this rolling, screaming boil.
Yeah,
and someone says, "It's gotten a little hot." I mean, I've never seen water
literally
boil
boiling
that violently.
It's a little hot in here, guys.
Also felt like a pretty long pool party. If however long into it, he's trying to hook up with Lisa.
Yeah,
can't make it happen. Leaves, goes to Grady's house, goes through that entire sequence. Goes back to the pool party. People are still just hanging out, drinking by the pool.
She had time to go home and change.
Yeah.
And all of
hang
that.
out.
Also, what fucking parents are like, you know what? I think we should just go to sleep and let them have fun. And then the kids just blast metal or whatever the fuck. And it's like,
they're just waiting for the lights to turn off.
They're just fine with it. Yeah.
Like the parents just go unconscious when the light switch hits. Okay, now we can fucking party.
Here's an important question. Dance off. Which one is better? Jesse's scene in this, or Crispin Glover's dance scene in Friday Part 4?
Crispin Glover.
I don't know about
Crispin Glover, bro.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like
he gets it because it's Crispin Glover.
I don't.
Okay.
Well, what are we judging? Are we judging just
I don't know.
like ridiculousness?
I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules. But neither did they. They just made it up as they went.
He didn't want to do the dancing, right? Isn't that the?
Oh, really?
Yeah. You're talking about Jesse?
Yeah.
Or Mark Patton? Yeah.
Mark Patton.
Yeah, I don't think he did. And I would say that points for Crispin, because I feel like Jesse's dance was intentionally ridiculous.
That's just
whereas
Crispin
Crispin's
Glover
character thought he was legitimately dancing.
Which is why that takes it. I mean, Crispin Glover takes that for sure.
That's how he edges it out. But I do love Mark Patton's dance.
I kind of like Mark Patton's more just because it's so 80s. It's so 80s.
Oh, yeah.
The different,
but it's not as ridiculous.
The different. I mean, okay, yeah. Crispin's is obviously
absurd.
more ridiculous.
Look,
Yeah,
as
definitely
a fan of rhythm, I'm gonna have to go with Crispin Glover.
Because of his lack of it.
Because I'm a fan of rhythm. I will not elaborate.
I think I enjoyed Jesse's more. I think Crispin's like you watch it and you're just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? That was crazy. But then Jesse's is like, okay, I dig this. He's having fun.
You know what? I think I see myself
He's
in
doing
Crispin,
his thing.
honestly.
He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's got his glasses. He's got his 80s glasses. It's a much better song. That song is awesome.
I think that was a point of contention with him and the writer. Let me pull up his name because I keep saying the writer. David
No, he's
Chaskin.
a dick. Fuck it.
David Chaskin.
His name is the writer.
No, but he was saying that David was saying
What's his name?
David Chaskin.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Dick Chaskin.
Dick Chaskin.
I was gonna
now it all
Dick
makes sense. Yeah. But he was saying that like he didn't write that in the script for him to dance or to dance like that, and then he was saying actually no, like it was pretty like specific, like to close the drawer with his ass.
Yeah,
I was like that was written in there.
Yeah. Like it's the fucking actor's fault that the camera literally zooms in on his dick and and hovers. Like legitimately hovers.
He said he literally did everything that was written. Like there was no like improvised.
And that's the thing
throughout
is
the
like
whole movie.
Okay, so everything written, fine. That camera zoom isn't written,
right? Yeah, that's a choice somebody else fucking made. Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird the director try to play dumb. Be like, I had no idea. But
right.
Well, he
and
made
that's the
people
other thing is like,
and I'm
if
like,
you guys just embraced it, it would just be a marketing point.
Yeah. Just own it.
I don't want to like blame him because in the documentary, the director seemed genuine, even though it's weird that you wouldn't pick up on that. Like maybe he's that naive. But there were other cast members that said the same thing. What's her name? Kim Myers.
Kim Myers,
Lisa.
Who was also in Hellraiser Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She looked. She has a very Meryl Streep face.
Yeah, Kimmy was like, "Is this woman related to Meryl Streep?"
Yeah, right? She really
Very
does.
similar. And I was like, "Ah, she's not."
Yeah, somebody said on Letterboxd called her a discount Meryl Streep, and I was like, "Come on, that's mean. She did good in this movie."
Yeah, dude, she's good.
But yeah,
she had also said something.
Yeah, she also was like, she didn't pick up on it until after the fact. She said, like reading the script and stuff. She's like, I didn't see it.
To be fair, she probably wasn't in a lot of the scenes.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Him dancing. Yeah.
See, and that's the thing is, I think that that's how I close drawers, though. So I don't think that that's inherently a homosexual undertone. I just do that.
This is just how
it's a convenient way to
clean
do
a
it.
room. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
bro,
you're
I got
talking
things
about.
in my hands. Click.
Do we not all have like a little wooden cork gun that we fucking like grind on when we're feeling ourselves at night? Like,
yeah. Yeah. I know I do. Got one right here.
Yeah.
Let's see it,
Justin.
Justin.
This one also
it's out of reach.
Certain moments or certain iconic parts of the Nightmare franchise we get for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The logo is different.
Yeah.
And that's like the script logo that we're used to from the rest of the franchise. The sweaters get stripes, which they didn't have in the first movie.
Really?
Which I always thought was really interesting. Freddy's sweater has solid red sleeves in the first one.
Right.
You said the sweaters get stripes.
Sorry, the sweater sleeves get stripes.
Sweater sleeves. Okay, gotcha.
It is funny that for a moment there you were like, fuck, is the whole sweater solid in the first one? I did not know.
I was like, what?
That was a fuck of a Mandela effect. I just watched that shit.
You're like, what is Josh?
I literally just saw that shit on YouTube.
Sorry, the sleeves.
Yeah.
The sleeves get stripes.
Whole movie.
Yeah.
The whole fucking movie didn't notice the sweater was red.
The sleeves are solid in the first one, but they get stripes in this one. And the door, I always forget that the door to her house is blue in the first one.
Right.
Because everyone
Oh, yeah.
thinks the door is red for the Nightmare house. Like people were
Yeah, 'cause
mad when
there's
somebody
a-
I think painted over it.
Right. Yeah. There's a shot later on in the movie where it's just the house, or I think it was where they were kind of revealing where they lived.
Yeah.
And the camera just hovers on the house right after like a aha moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, that's such a creepy fucking shot.
Yeah.
And it's that way because that door is red.
Mhm.
Josh, have you been to that house?
Not yet.
in
I really
Hollywood.
want to because it's not far from us.
Yeah.
We did. I'm surprised I haven't because we did a whole
Yeah.
pilgrimage like during COVID when we didn't have anything else to do. So we drove up to Simi Valley and went to the Poltergeist house,
Nice.
which you apparently
nice.
have to take a picture of from like a block away because the people that live there fucking hate that
I'm sure.
horror fans
Well,
come to
you
take
know what?
photos of
Fuck
their
off.
house.
Don't move there.
Yeah, like
no,
the
it's
house
funny
is going into it.
Yeah.
We did that, and then we went to Pasadena where they filmed Halloween, and Michael Myers' house where he comes out as a kid at the very end or at the very beginning where he kills his sister. That's an office building now, so you can rent office space. And apparently, Michael Dougherty rents office space on the top
That's
level,
amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
and does work on his movies. And then if you walking distance from there, there's a full neighborhood in Pasadena with these beautiful houses. And that's where the shrub is that Michael stands behind. And then Laurie's house, and the woman who owns Laurie's house fucking loves that the fans are
That's
all about
awesome.
it. And she has fake pumpkins sitting outside
Awesome.
year round.
That's
And like we went up and we're trying to snap some photos, and she comes outside and she's like, "You can sit on the porch and hold a pumpkin if you want to do the Lori pose."
amazing.
cool. What a
She
sweetheart.
was like, "You can do
awesome.
this," and I was like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "Yeah, get up there and get photos like here and do this." And I was like, "You are so fucking cool for doing this." And she's like, "The fans love it. Like, why wouldn't I? It's amazing." And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
"Oh my god, this is so
Yeah.
cool." And then we tried to drive by the mansion from Scary Movie 2, but that's hidden behind like these big walls. But that was also
Oh, yeah.
somewhere in Hollywood. So I like created this list where I was like, we have nothing to do today because
Hell
we're
yeah.
both furloughed from our jobs and we can't interact with other people, but we can get in the car and fucking drive all around town and visit famous horror houses. And I didn't put the Nightmare house on there for some reason.
Yeah,
so we
I
definitely
mean
gotta make
Nancy's
time for
house
that.
or that house. It's I
Yeah.
mean that's in a pretty like prominent area of Hollywood.
That house is it's a pretty easy to reach. I'm sure I've been like within a block of it in the last
Oh, yeah, dude, it's
few
like,
weeks, just
it's like
going up there for concerts. And
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
It's like Fairfax
Um,
and Selma. I think it's like
yeah.
in that area.
And I think the
or
Craft house
Fountain.
is also in that area.
Oh,
Which house?
wow,
Craft
that's
the one
House.
from the Craft. Yeah, I don't think that one's too far from there either. So
See, I had
we
always
gotta make that
thought,
time.
and this was just me when I was living in LA, because Beverly Hills has an Elm Street.
Mm.
It's like a pretty popular street in Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
and I just thought like, oh, like that's where it's supposed to be in the movie, and I just never like actually, because that's like it just that's what I thought.
you didn't
As a-
realize as a kid that every town in America has an Elm Street.
yeah, but
Oh.
being in LA, it was just like this would
Yeah.
make sense. But yeah,
Nice.
but yeah, the house is I don't know 10 minutes from that Elm Street.
I gotta visit now. Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything, whenever you mentioned the shrub from Halloween, is there anything to protect that shrub? Like, is it written into something to where you can't cut down that shrub? Because
I
it's
don't
been
know.
50 fucking years and it's still there. I'm surprised.
yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that it is.
I'm guessing whoever's just responsible for it knows that there'd be hell to pay if they ever like
Yeah,
took
'cause
it
if they
down
took
and
down
put a
that
fence
shrub,
in or
man,
something instead.
Whoever's property it's on must like keep
They
it
have to
maintained.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It still looks the exact same.
Yeah, that's the thing. It looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like like somebody else came along and did it. Like no, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can spot it from like a block away.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, there it is. That's the one. And it's crazy. And
That's awesome.
that's the same with Laurie's house. The only problem is it was this was 2020, and I think we went in October-ish. I'm trying to remember, but it was right before an election. So we got some fun photos at Laurie Strode's house with some big election signs in the yard behind us. So I was like, I didn't take the people who own this house to be like really active political people, but my bad.
So real quick, I don't know if you guys came across this, that they wanted to cast either John Stamos or Michael J. Fox as Jesse.
John
and not
Stamos.
Mark Patton.
Oh.
Yeah. I read about the Michael J. Fox, but he was filming Back to the Future.
And he was going to be
and Teen Wolf.
Yeah, and he would have been way too expensive, and
I
don't think he would have done it. But also because Bobby Shea was saying, like, he was apparently throughout that entire production was really, really cheap or frugal. Like he was so worried about money.
Oh, Bob Shea is. I mean, that's why he's the fucking the head of New Line, is because he's really good at pinching pennies.
Yeah. And they initially didn't cast Robert Englund. They had casted someone else. And then
a stunt guy.
Yeah.
Kane Hodder, I think, was in the running at one point.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
was it during shooting? There was at some point in production where they're like, he's like, I made a terrible mistake.
Yeah, the director said that 2 weeks into the movie, he fired the stunt guy and went back to Robert and was like, I'm so sorry. This was such a huge fucking mistake. And then gave him the salary that he asked for.
Yeah.
And they also had, was it on like the movies that made us or something? It was one of I've watched like 6 documentaries about Nightmare on Elm Street in the last 2 years. And I can't remember which one's which, but there was a part where they talk about Robert Englund going into audition for another movie. And they were like, you're not what we're looking for here, but they're casting for a horror film next door and you might be what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's when he went over and then that's how he got in touch with the people for Nightmare on Elm Street. And then he went home and told his roommate, you should go audition for this other movie that they just turned me down for. It's called Star Wars. And his roommate, Mark Hamill, went and auditioned for the part of Luke Skywalker.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
wild.
Crazy.
Robert Englund and Mark Hamill.
It's almost more insane to me to imagine those two as roommates. But like in character.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dude, they so need to do a YouTube short of them as those characters being roommates.
Just Luke and Freddy kicking it.
Why haven't they done that?
That's the name of it. Luke and Freddy kicking it.
Yeah.
Just imagine Freddy with like lightsaber fingers. Like, look what I did.
That'd be sick.
It seems a little more elegant than the glove. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's so good.
Yeah. But and with the second one, they were going to recast Freddy because they thought he was just like Jason, Leatherface, Michael Myers. They were like, it doesn't matter who Freddy is. Put somebody else in the makeup. Just get another stunt guy. The movie's about the victims. And then shortly after starting filming on the second one, they were like, oh no, this was a mistake. You need Robert Englund because
it has to be him.
You see his face, his eyes, his mannerisms. Like that's
Freddy.
That's
what's so interesting about, because watching this, I know we'll get to the remake, but watching this and keeping the remake in mind, and I don't want to go too much into the remake because, like I said, I know we're going to cover it. But Jackie Earle Haley is not a bad actor. That dude is a phenomenal actor.
Incredible.
But and what he did, I thought was really good, given what he was given to do.
Yeah.
But it's almost like sad and let down to even try to do it because of how much personality that Freddy has.
Yeah.
And that's obviously all Robert. But that is like, you can't replace that. You can't even try to replace that. And I don't know any other horror character that is all like an iconic horror, aside from Pinhead. Like Doug Bradley is Pinhead.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
So like, it's super rare because I mean, I know it's just makeup or those guys have, masks and stuff, but there's just something about the way that he plays that character.
Well, and
Warwick is Leprechaun.
Yeah, Warwick is Leprechaun. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Warwick and Freddy. Those are the only two. The interesting thing about you saying like the makeup and stuff is like, that's specifically Wes Craven being like, everybody else has a mask. So let's burn his face and that's his mask. And what's funny is that in doing that, you set it up to where the only person that can play it is Robert Englund because you see his face. Even Jackie Earle Haley looking at him, it doesn't work for me.
No,
it's fine. He looks burned, but he almost looks more like, with the makeup on, I want to clarify, he looks like almost a rat. Something, like it's weird. It doesn't.
It was a
Freddy
weird.
looks like his face is burned, but it's still a normal face somehow.
Right.
I think Freddy's looks more disturbingly like recently burned.
Yeah.
And like juicy still, which is like pretty gross. Whereas Jackie Earle Haley's look more just like scar tissue.
Yeah, it's healed. Yeah,
and I was like, that's not really working. And I know we'll talk about the remake later too, but that was just one of like a few issues that just felt like studio interference, where they're like, oh, we're gonna do CGI for everything, and I'm like, it was so good as a practical effect the first time, just do it as a practical effect again. But I will say when they asked Robert Englund about the remake before they did the remake. So this was like, because when was the remake? It was 2009? 2010? So this was like, this had to have been like 2007, 2008. They had interviewed Robert Englund and said, there's talks of a Nightmare on Elm Street remake, hopefully trying to get off the ground here. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about it? And he said, I love the idea. I love the plot. I love the character. Like, Wes Craven created something special, and whatever keeps it alive, I'm for it. And he goes, I just don't think you should do a straightforward remake of the first movie, because it was so special for what it was that you can't replicate that. And he's like, so take that idea of a guy killing you in your dreams, which is a great fucking idea, but like put him in a jumpsuit and give him a different hat, or give him he's like, there's certain things you can't change, but there's plenty of things you can to kind of make it your own. And I think that's what the remake made. That's how the remake fucked up, is they're like, no, we're just going to try to do our best impersonation of the first one. And it's like, nah, it's too perfect.
Yeah.
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. I still think the dance scene in part 2 was better.
This motherfucker. Get him.
I just enjoyed it.
It was good.
Look, you can enjoy it and also admit that Crispin Glover's a better dancer.
Did you ever realize that Wes Craven essentially did a Dracula, a wolf, a werewolf, a Frankenstein, a creature, a zombie, and 2 slashers? And I think he also did a possession movie.
What?
That's wild.
So which
he's
was
like hit on every subgenre.
He's touched like every horror subgenre. So he did Vampire in Brooklyn, which is his vampire movie.
Right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
You should rewatch it because it's a fucking masterpiece. I love that movie top to bottom. He did Cursed, which is for some reason having a huge resurgence lately, and I think that one's still not good.
No.
That's his werewolf movie.
People are getting desperate for movies to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with like revisiting older movies and being like, this is actually not as bad as everyone thinks it is.
I mean, that's essentially what this podcast is.
Cursed is as bad as everyone remembers.
Yes, Cursed is bad.
And then Deadly Friend was essentially a Frankenstein movie. And I would say Swamp Thing is pretty close to being like a Creature from the Black Lagoon type movie.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Except he is the lagoon.
Yeah. And then Serpent and the Rainbow is a zombie movie.
True. Very true. Very true.
And
Justin loves Serpent and the Rainbow.
And I think he did a slasher, right? Wes Craven's done a slasher movie. I'm trying to remember.
Has he done one?
Yeah. Yeah. And then he did My Soul to Take or whatever. Oh, and then somebody said Shocker could essentially be like his Invisible Man.
Oh, fair enough.
That's a bit of a reach, but I'll take it.
Really good.
Yeah.
Shocker's fucking great.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is basically a possession movie.
Fuck yeah.
True.
Yeah,
that is a possession movie.
But that's not Wes Craven.
Yeah.
No, right.
About fair.
Very true.
What was the what were the tomato reader or meter on
So for the first, it is a 95% tomato meter.
Yeah,
it's an 84% audience score, which is kind of.
I need to talk to these 5% that said rotten.
Yeah.
And these 16% of audience members who apparently watched a different fucking movie.
Yeah.
You should just Jay and Silent Bob and just go to the
I just want to talk.
Right?
And then, so the second one, it's got a 43% tomato meter and a 33% audience.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
that's
shame.
I get
that's
it being
too low
lower,
for audience,
for sure lower than the first, but that is pretty low.
Yeah. That sucks. I loved it.
I will say I am looking forward to talking about the rest of the movies more than these two.
Loved it.
I love them. I love these movies. I think that the rest of them are so much more creative. It's so much more like insane.
Yeah, they definitely they push the boundaries.
Yeah, because it's not like, here's the thing. Two different forms of creativity. The creativity to create the first one is a thing of its own. That's just
for sure.
Craven. But the creativity to somehow get however many movies there are of this, worth of kills, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and it spirals off the rails.
I just want a Rube Goldberg of Freddy killing people in funny and ridiculous ways.
Yeah, and I get it, because there's no other horror character like that can really pull that off.
Yeah,
at least not on the.
They sort of
scale.
try to have Jason do it, but it kind of falls flat.
Not in the his stuff is just so, or Freddy's stuff is just so fantastical. But
yeah, it's so based in not reality,
right? And that's one of the reasons why I love the first film so much, or this franchise, is because you can see the line where the first one, when you go back to it, is like, holy shit, that's really dark and intense.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the franchise is like, what the fuck is going on? But this is really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. It is. Is it, trying to remember, because the next ones are where it does start to ramp up the one-liners, and Freddy gets way more screen time and way more dialogue. And that's kind of when he became a full pop culture icon. He was in commercials and doing guest appearances, and they had the Freddy hotline and all that shit.
We'll probably get into this later because it happens more later. But can we just take a minute to take in the fact that Freddy Krueger, a man who was a child murderer and worse, technically in theory, and covered in the most hideous burns possible,
just
with a knife
murderer.
for a hand, was a spokesperson for a whole bunch of shit for a little while.
Yeah.
On TV.
Well, and I wonder if that's why they took that part out, because I've always talked about that. That's the difference with this and the remake is, in your soul, you want to enjoy Freddy, you want to root for Freddy, and for some reason, molesting kids 100%. Is crossing a line.
Right.
Murdering kids is fine.
Has to be.
Kill kids all you want.
Because everybody's thought
if you touch
I
them,
could fucking kill that kid right now.
But if you're touching them, I'm like, I can't root for you. I can't put you on a t-shirt. I can't get a tattoo of this character. You're gross.
Yeah.
One of my
and so
favorite...
I wonder if that's why they were we need to dial back that part of it, because we see him becoming a potential face of a franchise where it's no one's going to want to go back to that.
Yeah, which is interesting because obviously when your intent is to make a fucked up horror movie, you want to have some fucked up shit. And then you're like, oh, this is too fucked up. We need him to be a little more likable.
Right. The reason why they changed that in the original was because in the original script and the version of it, Craven had him being a child molester.
Right.
But right before they went to go film, there was a string of child molestation cases that were going around that area, and it was all over the news. And they were
so Wes Craven was like, too soon.
Yeah, they were. He was like, this is a good idea. This is this hits too close to home, and then he just changed it to a child murderer. So, way better. Yeah, way better.
Yeah.
It's a good move.
One of the funny things in Never Sleep Again was him. Robert Englund is like, so I was sitting there getting all this makeup done, and I'm watching Johnny and Heather getting their makeup done, and I'm like, yeah, you guys, in his head, he's like, yeah, you guys really need it. You're fucking young and beautiful. And then he was like, and that's when I realized that's part of Freddy. I could use that as shorthand to get mad at them. Yeah, you and your fucking youth and your bodies that don't hurt and your pretty faces. I'm gonna get you. I love that. That's so fucking good.
Depp did look cute as fuck in that crop top.
Yeah,
cute as fuck.
Talk about child molesting. Jesus, Justin.
That's what's funny is people talked about they're like, there's still hints of it there. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess, because you watch it now, and you forget that Nancy's supposed to be like 16.
Right.
So him sticking his tongue out of the phone and being like, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy." I'm like, "Oh no, that's pervy. That's definitely not."
Yeah.
Same thing with "You're All My Children" now.
Oh shit! Now that you mention it,
The second one just got so much worse.
I love that scene so much, and you've ruined it.
Yeah, I thought you guys knew that.
Because the
No,
implication
I
is
thought it was
that
just
now
like
there's
the
these
implication.
children.
No, it's the implication exactly.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a
You know what's
chaperone on
fucked
a
up?
field trip or something. Like,
You know what's fucked up?
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say, if you get on a school bus and you see Freddy based on all these movies, fucking get off that school bus. It's not going to go well. But also, maybe it's because my mom was a teacher. I fucking love in movies whenever a fucking school bus just goes fucking
Off the
ape shit,
rails.
just
Yeah.
fucking through a field or some shit. Like, oh, that's so good.
What were you going to say, Derek?
Oh, that the three of us didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
But Justin did.
yeah.
Rewind like 30 minutes ago. Justin's like, "It's the best Freddy scene ever."
It is. It is. I know. It's a bad it's a bad message. It's a real bad message. But it's the way he delivers that line is so like, geez, dude.
I don't think that this is something that CREEP-O-RAMA could back, Justin.
No, it's not. It's really not. It's even
I don't know if I
worse.
wanna be associated
It's
with
even
this
worse
anymore.
that I thought, hey, that would be like our Hellraiser 3 design that we did with Pinhead with his arms out. I was like, I wonder if we could do that scene with the fire behind him and that, and "You're All My Children" now on the back. But I was like, no, that's not a good idea. Not a good idea.
It's not.
Considering some of the shit we've gotten for stuff that isn't directly that.
Right.
True.
But I mean,
I
it's a
still wear
cool
it,
scene.
though.
So would I.
That is,
But, you know, it's such a fucked up scene for more.
I think a shirt with
more
Freddy
reason
and the
one.
long arms would be fucking dope.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would
What
be
we
dope.
do is we get
Or
we
get a
find
long
somewhere-
sleeve and have his arms go down the
Yeah,
sleeves.
it's like that, like the fucking the long arm thing,
Right, yeah,
What's it called at Spookala? The fucking long clown from Poltergeist.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I saw I noted that there was a girl who did the hall monitor cosplay.
Oh,
That's funny.
I want to say it was at Midsummer Scream last year, and it was so sick. Like she had the sweater with the collar and the little like hall monitor name tag, but then she had the slashes on her face, and she was wearing the glove. And I was like, I forgot about how creepy that scene is. Like, screw your hall pass.
Yeah.
was it at Spookala? There was a dude that looked a lot like Wes Craven, but he fucking dressed up as the janitor, Freddy.
Oh, from Scream?
Yeah, it was so
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
By the way, in the second one, that high school, same high school as Karate Kid.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
Don't go to that high school.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
There's a wax on, wax off joke here, but I'm not going to make it.
Oh,
I think you
man.
just did.
Sneaky bitch.